we're going to have a. So since we're recording now, it's time for us to start convening here, and Phyllis is going to grace us with the gathering music. Um, Phyllis, it's all yours. Go ahead.
Let all things now living, a Thanksgiving song. Let all things now living, a song of thanksgiving to God the Creator, triumphantly raise, who fashioned and made us, protected and stayed us, who guideth us unto the end of our days. His banners o'er us, His light goes before us, a pillar of fire shining forth in the night, till shadows have vanished and darkness is banished, as forward we travel from light into light. His law He enforces, the stars in their courses, the sun in his orbit obediently shine. The hills and the mountains, the rivers and fountains, the deeps of the ocean proclaim Him divine.
Thank you, Phyllis, and good morning, Unity of Payson.
Good morning.
I'm delighted to see you this morning, those of you here in the Sawmill Theater and those of you who are joining us virtually. And it is a time for Thanksgiving. Not that every day shouldn't be a time for Thanksgiving, but we especially take this time to be aware of all that we have to be grateful for. Will you join me in an opening prayer as we meditate on, bring to mind, keep and hold in our awareness that for which we are thankful. God of all goodness, it's all good. Sometimes doesn't look good, but it is all good. And we are grateful for even those very challenging situations that face us. And then we're grateful for the blessings that just thrill us and warm us and excite us. The blessings of the beauty of the natural world. The blessings of friends and family. And the blessings of spirit indwelling that breaks forth into our everyday life in wonderful ways. We are so grateful. So as we gather this morning, I am grateful for each one who is here with us and each one who joins us by recording at a later time. We are one. There is no time. that is required for us to be one. And there is no need for us to act in a particular way. We come as we are, and we are grateful for all that populates our life. Everything that comes into our life. And we're grateful even in advance for all the good that we will experience. Bless us now as we spend time together. We are so very grateful. And so it is.
Good morning, everybody. My name's Betty, and I'm your hostess this morning. And yay, us! Good morning to everyone online also. And looking forward to soon in December going back to our old location. And we're so excited about that. So there'll be more on that coming up. But I don't see anyone new here. But if you are new online, we'd love to have some contact information from you. Or if you want to know more about what the activities are that we have going on, you can go to unityofpayson.org and go to the contact button and leave your information, and Terry will send out the Monday email letting you know of all the fun activities we do have going on. And so, for those of us that have not, us and anybody that hasn't found us yet, and anyone new here this morning, we're going to charge ourselves up and say our blessing together. We love you, we bless you, and we welcome you. And now we have an opening song. Once again, thank you so much, Phyllis, for your beautiful playing. And the song is Come Ye Thankful People Come.
Hey Siri. Walgreens Pharmacy in Marble Falls.
Unmute.
One option I found is Walgreens on US Highway 281. Is that the one you're looking for?
Call.
Yep. Tom needs to mute everybody.
So Phyllis and Mike, it says here. I imagine Mike is there someplace, but Phyllis,
Yep.
we're ready for that opening song, Come Ye Thankful People Come. So go on ahead. If you're muted, which I see you are, please unmute and we'll enjoy your
No. Oh, that's theirs. Okay.
All right, here we go.
Come, ye faithful people, come, praise the Son of our blessed home. All is safely gathered in the winter storm.
those who don't know, that beautiful angelic voice there with Phyllis is our own Sherry Cowell. So thank you so much, Sherry. And now is a time of gratitude, the whole season. But we especially want to just say thank you to, boy, we have all of our volunteers. Thank you to all the volunteers and to everybody that supports Unity of Payson. And this week we had activities. Woohoo! We had our morning cafe and the Course in Miracles on Tuesday evening, and What's It All About on Wednesday, and the men's group, and the card and game group at Kay's. And then on Friday we had the drumming on the rim. And if you're here in the theater, stop Kathy and let her show you the sunset pictures she took from the drumming. They are gorgeous. So we have lots of things to be grateful for today. Unity is grounded in meditation and affirmative prayer. And we do have our trained prayer chaplains. Oh, I forgot to put my stole on. But if you do have a prayer need, please don't hesitate to tap one of us on the shoulder. Marianne is also here this morning. We hold them sacred and confidential for 30 days, and then Donna sends them on to Silent Unity, where they are held for another 30 days. And we don't want anyone during this time to have a heavy heart, so use us. And let's see, our theme for the month is release. Whatever I release will bless me. Frees up your energy to let go of those things. And our speaker today is our own Reverend Neal Worthington, and his talk title is Hard Hats and Heavy Equipment. Getting down to doing the work. And our metaphysical moment. Truth transcends our physical experience of life and our world. Please join with me as we consider this expression of truth. And today it's interesting because the word for today is grace, and our theme for the month is release, and we are in the season of Thanksgiving. So my little share will sort of weave that all together for you. Grace is my constant blessing. I discover grace all around me when I open my eyes, my mind, and my heart to its presence. Grace reminds me that God's love is active everywhere and at every moment. Grace can be as quiet as a whisper. It's in the love I hear in the voice of someone dear, and in the warmth and tenderness of a comforting touch. Grace is in the heartfelt welcome I receive when invited into a friend's home. It's the bliss I feel when I know I truly belong. And we all truly belong. God is the heart of all grace as goodness and kindness in action. Always mine to receive and give in kind. My growing awareness inspires me to share this activity of God generously by calling it into expression. And so this morning when I was having my coffee, I frequently have on, when you go to YouTube, you can call up like meditation music, and they have these beautiful visuals along with different kinds of music. And it was very, very soft piano music this morning. And the visuals was all the gorgeous fall colors from all over the country. Some of them, were flying over them, but a lot of them were with the ground covered with leaves as you would walk through the woods. And it was such a blessing to be in all that vibrant color. But I found myself thinking about what a wonderful analogy these falling leaves are for us. That at different seasons and times of our lives, we need to allow that outside world to drift away, to just release it and let it drop and go back in. Pull your energy, just like the tree does, back into its central core. And even at the time where it's our end of life and we're passing, isn't that what always happens to all of us? Is that the sameness, the oneness, the wholeness that we are moves back to the central oneness of God as we gently let go of those things that are no longer ours to carry. So that analogy hit me this morning. And so that was the grace of that showing up for me, the release of the leaves, and just being grateful for that whole experience. So that was my morning. It was wonderful. And now we have our message from our own Reverend Neal.
Good morning again.
Good morning.
I don't know how long it has been since you were in school. When I was in college, I had to get that summer job. You know, colleges were expensive, and so the summer job is a prerequisite to continuing your education. Well, it was for me anyway. And I remember one summer when I determined that I needed to make as much as I could out of this summer earning period. And I did something very unusual for me. I went down to the union hall, the laborers union, and I joined the union in hopes that I would get a job, the job that would provide me with that money that I was wanting and needing to go back to school in the fall. And I waited, and I sat in the union hall, but not too long, and I soon was assigned to a particular job. I was to work on construction of a dam. There was a dam in the area that was being put together to provide the water supply, and this was to be my laborer's job for the summer. So early in the morning, I would get up, get in my, do you remember this, a Ford Falcon, your Ford Falcons? And that Ford Falcon would take me 20 miles to where the dam was being built, and I had a job. Well, first of all, they gave me a list of gear that I needed to have to work that job. Of course, there was steel toe shoes. Wouldn't want my toes to get mashed. There was heavy work clothes because sometimes they were needed to protect the workers. And of course there was, as you might guess, whoops, the hard hat. And I went and got all of my, well, we'll put that hard hat on later if we can. So donning my new protective equipment, I headed off to that job, and I got to the dam site, and I noticed all sorts of things happening. First of all, there was big graders grading the area where a berm was being built for the dam. There was conveyors that took what were called bags of riprap. I don't know if anybody knows what riprap is. Bags of riprap that were to be placed along that berm to secure it when the water came through. There were bulldozers making that berm and moving away some of the dirt that was in the way for the dam itself. And there were cranes at work lifting these reinforcement, this rebar, this grid of rebar that was to be put in place. And then carpenters working at putting together the forms where the concrete would be poured for this dam. Well, it was a new sight for me, but a very exciting one because I saw workers there, not just my yellow hard hat, which I had as a laborer, but white hard hats and blue hard hats and green hard hats and brown hard hats, all for the various types of workers that were working on this dam. Well, it was an exciting thing, and it was a time for me of hard hats and heavy equipment. And that's what I'd like to talk about today, but I'm going to use it as a metaphor, not going to take you any more into that construction experience that I had, but use it as a metaphor. So what we really will talk about are universal truths, spiritual tools, and how to use them. Universal truths, spiritual tools, and how to use them. So let's look first at what is needed in terms of protection. I don't know if anybody you remember that pyramid that Maslow made, and the needs, the hierarchy of needs it's called. Anybody remember that? On that very base level, along with breathing, along with eating food, having water to drink, was the need for security and safety, a most basic need that was there. Well, that's true from a spiritual sense as well. And I'd like to suggest that what gives us this safety and security is truth, universal truth. Now, each of us look at that a little bit differently, and we resonate with that universal truth that really goes along with where we are at in our lives. But truths they are, and we begin to feel that truth and live that truth as we progress, as we grow, and as we expand spiritually. So there are 4 truths that I think are really critical, and they can be thought of in the way that protective gear, if you're on a construction site, might be talked about. First of all, there is what I call the breastplate of righteousness. Does anybody remember in the Christian scriptures in Ephesians 6, a passage that starts out with, "Put on the whole armor of God"? Do you remember that, anybody? Wave your hand if you do. Well, I'm going to change that just a little bit way. I'm going to say, put on all that protective equipment, that truth. Put that on and wear it like clothing. So the very first of those bits of armor, which we're going to think of as protective gear, was the breastplate of righteousness. That's a term that has to be interpreted a little bit metaphysically. The breastplate of righteousness, when we look at it metaphysically, when we look beneath the surface of things, is not particularly a vest that we might put on, but it is the union of wisdom and love. The union of wisdom and love. Wisdom, that ability to evaluate, to discern, and to put to use that which we know. And then love, the ability to harmonize, to unify, and to attract. So this union of wisdom and love is for us a breastplate, a protective thing that protects our vital being, our vital organs, and our vital being in a spiritual sense as well. So that's the breastplate of righteousness. And the truth, in case you didn't get it again, is the union of wisdom and love. Then there's the helmet of salvation, it says in that Ephesians 6. Well, for us, we're going to talk about not the helmet of salvation, but the hard hat, if you will, that yellow or brown or white or whatever color hard hat. And that, in fact, is, well, it goes over our head. It goes over that thinking and reasoning ability area, and it's so involved with the power and the truth that I'd like to couple with it, and that's divine order. Divine order, the truth that helps us to look at something and know what's important, to prioritize. the truth that allows us to balance things in our lives. That's divine order. That's the universal truth. That's the truth that we can claim and live out in our lives as we take this truth and put it to work to protect us. Then there's the shield of faith. Of course, faith is one of those gifts that we have been given. We talk about them as the 12 powers sometimes, but there are many spiritual gifts, and with one of them, you probably resonate more than with others right at a given point in time. But faith is that ability to believe with confidence. To believe with confidence. The shield of faith, that protection of faith, believing with confidence. That whatever happens out there, we and our being are protected. And in fact, all things are working for our good. And then finally, the shoes of peace, like those steel-toed shoes that have a good grip on the bottom, and so you're not going to slip when you're working. Those shoes that ground you are the gift of peace that we have. That's tranquility and harmoniousness, or harmony. I see Marianne here. That's Marianne's favorite. Is it your favorite word, Marianne? Harmony? Yeah. Pretty close. Yes, she says yes. Okay. We've got that going. It's on her license plate, so I was pretty sure that was a favorite word. That gift of harmony, that gift of tranquility, that gift of even awareness. There's that sense of awareness, harmony, tranquility, awareness. Now, these are truths, and we're going to get into how to use them, but these are truths that are there. And for you this morning, one of those truths stands out. It's the one that you're connecting with, maybe the one that you feel a need for, the one that excites you, that universal divine truth. These are the hard hats. These are the protective equipment that keeps us safe, yes, and it allows us to continue the journey, whatever happens outside. And then there's the heavy equipment. So when I got on that construction site, I was seeing all this heavy equipment that I wasn't familiar with. And these heavy equipments are tools. They're very big tools, but this heavy equipment is tools because it's very important to work with a very considerable work. Not just a simple shovel at a time, but a bulldozer or an excavator. So I'd like to think about the journey we're on, the journey of growth and expansion, as using the tools. And the first tool is the excavator. That, for me, symbolizes digging deep. How often do you sit in self-reflection? How often do you dig deeply down there? Do you play the role of observer to look at yourself and your life, to assess, to get guidance from that look, to make some changes? Digging deep, excavating, we have to go down deep if we would spiritually move ahead. And then there's the bulldozer. The bulldozer pushes impediments away. So you have a pile of dirt here, and it's blocking what you want to do. It may block the construction site that you need. And you need to do some grading, so you push that dirt away. And you put it out of the way so that there's no impediment. Same thing is true spiritually. We have things which we must simply take the effort to push away so that they don't impede us going where we want to go. They don't stop us from building what we need to build. Pushing those impediments away, the work of a bulldozer. And then there's the dump truck. The dump truck will carry away that which is unimportant and take it someplace else. How often in our spiritual lives we have things that are unneeded, they're unimportant anymore. And we need to release them to tie in with our theme. We need to release them, allow them to be carried away, so that again we may go forward with that building of our life, that building of our purpose, the building of our calling. And finally, there's the crane. We need to choose that which lifts us. That crane lifts that big grid of rebar into place where the welders can weld it together so it will provide strength for that dam that I was talking about in my experience. But that crane is that lifting activity that allows us to build. And you know what that lifting activity is for you. Is it spending time with inspiring reading? Is it spending time with music that lifts you up? Is it spending time with people who lift you up? That uplift is so very necessary. It's that spiritual tool that will help you proceed in your journey, proceed in your construction project, if you will, as you go ahead. So we're talking and have been talking about spiritual hard hats, spiritual heavy equipment. Let's go now and figure out how do we use these. So I've got some help here in the theater. I'm just going to say this. Ed is going to pass out a handout for all of you here in the theater. But for those of you who are online, make sure, Tom I know is recording, those who are here online, if we do not have your email, please just put it in the chat and we will send you this handout. This handout that helps you to know how to use the protective gear, to know how to use these tools for very fundamental and very substantial work that needs to be done. These big tools. So we'll see everybody here gets it. For those of you online, keep track. You don't have to take notes. It's going to be in your inbox this afternoon sometime. So we're talking about divine protective gear and heavy-duty spiritual tools. Let's go with the divine protective gear. Those are those universal truths. So I named them before. I'm not sure why I got the numbering a little funny here, so if it's funny, just renumber it. The universal truths, wisdom and love. The intersection, the connection, the tying together of these tools. And if you have it in your hand, you're going to see that it tells you just what those tools are. Wisdom and love. Then divine order, that ability to organize and prioritize and balance. That's one of those universal truths. And then faith, that ability to believe with confidence. And finally, peace, the ability, and we do have this ability, this gift, to be tranquil, to live in harmony. So those are this divine protective gear. Take a moment, wherever you are, and choose one. Don't think you got to get them all done at one time. Choose one of these great truths that you really resonate with. Maybe one that you need, maybe one that you've lived out in your life. What of these truths, whether it's wisdom and love, divine order, faith, peace, take just a moment to select one of these tools, the one that's important for you, one of these truths. I say truths more than tools. The tools are the heavy equipment. That comes next. You got that? Make a mental note. Check. That's the one that's calling to me. And you have an assignment now. When you go home, I know somebody that's here in the theater that always does the assignment, so I'm going to be eager to find out what the result of doing the assignment is. I don't know how we'll do that, but we're gonna figure it out. Take it home. Take that truth home and meditate on it. Well, you say, well, I don't know very much about meditation. Well, that's okay. Just sit silently. Bring this truth into your awareness and see what also comes into your mind. See what comes to you. Maybe you have a piece of paper and a pencil or a pen, and you just list all of the things that come into your mind, and then you look at it again. Say, wow, this one's the most important aspect of it. So choose that truth. Meditate on it. Spend time with it. Got that? Now the other thing. The heavy equipment, that important big job tool that you need. Is it to dig deep? You needed some time for self-assessment, to observe yourself, to know what's going on in your life and what you might want to change. Or is it pushing aside the impediments that are keeping you from going where you want to go? Or is it just that you haven't carted away that extra stuff that weighs you down, and when you allow it to be carted away, when you release it, then the path is clear. Then you can get on with building, expanding. Or do you need to lift something into place? Do you need to be lifted? Is that lifting capacity like a crane? Is that what's important for you at this time? Get it again? Digging deep, pushing aside impediments, carting off what's unimportant, or lifting something into place that supports you and that buoys you up. Which one is calling to you? Again, pick one. So instead of just meditating, you may need to do some thinking on this, but instead of just that, choose one that's for you and make an action plan. How can I use this tool to further myself, to further my spiritual journey, to further my rise in consciousness? How can I use that? So you got it? This is an assignment. I'd love it if you'd email me and tell me how the assignment worked out for you. I'd love it if you'd come up to me next Sunday if you're here and tell me how the assignment went. Again, if you're online, you're going to get that assignment. You're going to get this handout in your email. So no excuses. Do the work. Do the work. As Betty said earlier, there's work to be done. So we've talked about truth. We've talked about tools and how to use them. Hard hats and heavy equipment. Going back to my summer job. Oh, I did a lot of work there. I remember taking those bags of riprap and placing them on the slope of the berm. I remember the jackhammer that cracked open the rock that just was an impediment. I remember looking in awe at the operators of the heavy equipment, and I had to stand back on some of that and just allow it to happen so that the work that I was called to do could be done. And of course, I never forgot to don that protective equipment. So I challenge you to do the same. Take that truth that comes to you, don it, wear it like a protective suit. Take that tool that's calling out for you and employ it. Put it together. do a substantial work with that tool, you will continue to grow. You will build yourself. You will rise up like a building almost, but rise up in consciousness. So I challenge you to take the tools, take the truths, put them to work. And so it is.
Thanks, Neal. And we now prepare for meditation. And our meditation song is an old Shaker hymn called Simple Gifts. And once again from Phyllis.
Phyllis needs to unmute. Thank you.
Thank you. Get the right glasses on.
Tis the gift to be simple, tis the gift to be free, tis the gift to come down where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, 'twill be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend, we shan't be ashamed. To turn will be our delight, till by turning we come out right. Tis the gift to be simple, tis the gift to be fair, tis the gift to wake and breathe the morning air, and every day to walk in the path we choose. Tis the gift that we pray we may ne'er come to lose. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend, we shan't be ashamed. To turn will be our delight, till by turning we come out right. Tis the gift to be loving, tis the best gift of all, like a quiet rain, it blesses where it falls. And if we have the gift, we will truly believe, tis the better to give than it is to receive. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend, we shan't be ashamed. To turn will be our delight, till by turning we come out right.
Now it's time for us to go into a time of quiet, so that we can allow what we've heard, what we have felt from an inner sense of connection with the divine, and consider that. So with me, take just a moment to be nowhere but where you are right now, to consider no time except the very present moment. Breathe with me, clear your mind, open your heart. And as you do, see yourself in the quietest place that you can imagine. Maybe the beauty of nature beside a placid lake or on a mountaintop, or in your very special place, your meditation chapel or your garden where you find time to pray. See yourself in that place. Or if you don't have that place, see yourself in imagination in that quiet, quiet place. And breathe in the very vitality of being. Not just your physical life, but the vitality of being. Breathe it in and rest in that. And as you rest in being, consider what is yours to do? What work is there for you to do? What tools you need to do it? Now, we've suggested some this morning, but that's not all. The list is much longer. Just allow to come to you what tool you need to do a substantial work. And as it comes to you, prize that tool. Get acquainted with that tool. Befriend that tool. And claim it. This tool will help me to be. Will help me to do what is mine to do with regard to my own life. And having chosen that tool, ready yourself for the work. See in the periphery of your vision some truths. Again, perhaps those we've discussed this morning, perhaps those that come strongly to you from within. And see those truths as a suit of protective clothing, a truth suit, if you will. Give that truth suit a name. What is it? Get comfortable with it. So there you have it. A magnificent tool and a truth suit. One that'll do the heavy work. One that will protect you, whatever situation you may encounter. So that truth suit and that huge tool, sit with those and just sit with them for a minute in the silence, knowing how you're to use them, how you are to hold them in your awareness. Your truth suit, your protective suit, and your heavy equipment, the tools to do a great work. you've connected with these tools, with this truth. Lock that in. Take that with you. Make use of that in your life. And as you bring your awareness back to this present time, bring those back with you. The truth and the tools to build of your life that great structure that you desire for yourself. It's available. And so as you come back, be aware again of this time and place. Perhaps open your eyes and wiggle your fingers and toes. And then notice, hey, I brought back something with me. I brought back a tool. I brought back a truth. It's going to get me where I want to go. And so it is.
Thank you, Reverend Neal. I like that you gave us the handout. It'll be nice to have on my nightstand, because when I do my reading, I make all these notes. I'm a famous notebook taker. And so now is the time for our gifts and our offerings. And we will be having an offering song. And during that time, if you are online, the instructions are up there on the slide of how to go to the website and go to the donate button. And if you're here in person, if you can hold your gift in your hands. And let's charge this up with the energy of doing this spiritual work that Neal was just talking to us about. Hold what your heart's desire is and say together our blessing. Freely we give, and freely we receive. And so it is. And Ed will be around with questions.
Unmute Phyllis, please.
Yeah, Phyllis, if you can start again, we don't want to miss any of it. And in on mute, please.
That's weird. It is.
beautiful, Phyllis. And thank you so much, Sherry, also for your beautiful voice this morning, for contributing. And now's time for our dedication of offering. You know, we bless the givers and the gifts. Not only do they support us here at Unity of Payson, but we tithe out to the larger community. And so thank you all, and our dedication together. Divine love through us blesses and multiplies all that we have, all that we give, and all that we receive. We are abundantly prosperous, and we give thanks. Thanks, Ed. And on to announcements. Woohoo! So next week we continue on with our November theme of release. Whatever I release blesses me, just like the falling leaves. And Neal will say a few words about this here in a minute, but we have a very special speaker, Reverend Ken Fendrick, and his talk title is From Grr to Grace. So we're anxious to hear that. And these are a few of the announcements, but you can always check your Monday email to be sure you stay up on everything that's going on. And of course, we have our morning cafe every Monday through Saturday at 9:30. It's such a good time. It's become a real ritual for most of us. It's like, well, wait a minute, my morning doesn't feel right if I'm not on that call. And all of these all these meetings, these are by love offering, and most of them are on Zoom. So, and then we have our highway cleanup. That's Thursday at 8 a.m. Meet at the Big Lots parking lot. And that's monthly on the fourth Thursday. And if you want any more information, you can talk to Neal about it. He's one of the pickup warriors out there. And the cards and games activity that's going on over at Kay's house. Thursday, November 25th from 1 to 3. And you will notice that that is Thanksgiving. 509 West Arabian Way in Payson. And her phone number is 928-978-1283 to confirm your attendance so she knows how many people are coming. And it's all easy and fun card games. And that will be every Thursday at that time slot. And like I said, even with Thanksgiving. And then the virtual Thanksgiving blessing on Thursday the 25th on Thanksgiving between 2 and 3, if you can do that. That will be a virtual family blessing from Neal and Donna's table to all of ours. Let's raise a toast and share our gratitudes. And if you're with family, introduce your family to our Unity of Payson family. So it should be really fun. And Neal, do you have some PS? I know you want to expound on a few things.
Yes, a couple of things. Well, we're right here on that Thanksgiving blessing. We're barging in to the game time that Kay has going. Yes, we have things going on Thanksgiving Day, but we've decided to go ahead and do it. Highway pickup is still going to happen. If you'd like to participate, but you can't on that day, talk to me. We'll figure out how we can do that. But we're going to continue with it anyway. I'll be there, and I hope somebody can join me. Teresa, I know you've been such a warrior on that, and if another time works for you and we want to divvy up some of the work, we can do that as well. But we're going to barge in on the game for that toast and sharing of gratitudes. And I really would encourage you, if you're with family, ask them if you can take just a little time to join with us at the Unity of Payson family. I also wanted to mention that Reverend Ken Fendrick will be with us. It's someone that you're probably unfamiliar with. Reverend Ken Fendrick has a ministry that's called an alternative ministry. He calls it Unity of the Trails. So services and activities may happen any place for him. we have a bit of a kinship with that because services and activities have happened all over for us as well. He's a dynamic speaker, a really, really good guy, and I know you're going to enjoy him. So please join with us 1 week from today. 1 week from today will also be our last time here in the Sawmill Theater. If you have not yet heard, we will be meeting beginning the 5th of December at the Central Arizona Board of Realtors. Stay tuned. We'll make sure that we get the address there for you. If you're a local person, it's behind Tiny's Restaurant if you have not been there before. But we will have the same time, but we will be having that in a somewhat more sociable setting and certainly a lighter setting. And we're looking forward to that. And we will continue to have the virtual service. For those of you who are virtual, we'll just be having it in terms of our physical presence from a different spot. So do join us as well and celebrate with us as we take the next step on our journey. It's been quite a journey, and that's very exciting. So that's all I got.
Okay, let's all stand for the peace song.
Online, hang in there for a minute. I'd like to greet you. And Tom, if you can give us a gallery view, and we'll take a look at it and take off the spotlights, and we'll say who's there. Today we have Kay. Which Kay? So there's two K's. Kay Butler joining us from Alabama. Joy is Joyous Rainbow joining us from Colorado. Tom Quirk, Donna Stecco, Phyllis and Mike, of course, Teresa. Good to see you, Teresa. And I'm delighted to see you all. Who did I miss? Anybody? Jean was there. Jean was here. I think Jean may be on to another appointment, like lunch for her, because she's from Texas. So we welcome you all, and it's delightful to see you and have you be with us here. We'll see you again next week at this time, and probably at something in between, because there's a lot happening. Join us for some of those other activities where we can be just a little bit more interactive. So blessings, everybody. See you next week.
Many blessings. Peace.